That's how it begins. Not through a news conference or a leaked memo, but in a chamber so hidden that not even the janitors knew it was taking place. Three basketball titans, Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and the legendary Larry Bird, met at the Pacers facility in the center of Indiana for what insiders are already referring to as the most seismic gathering in women's basketball history. Just whispers, no cameras, no reporters. Additionally, those murmurs are becoming tremors. People are conversing. The executives are perspiring. Fans are pleading for clarification. What on earth could possibly unite one of the best basketball players in history, a WNBA rookie, and a league veteran? Not only is the response startling, it might permanently alter the sport's trajectory. Clark is no stranger to attention, having just had the most significant rookie season in league history. However, this isn't about buzzer beaters or highlights. This has to do with legacy, power, influence, and revolution. Phoenix's firebrand, Sophie Cunningham, has always followed her own path. She is renowned for both her loud voice and her fearless play. She only shows up when it's important. Additionally, if she is in a room, a significant event is occurring. The legendary French lick ghost, Larry Bird, comes next. A man who is basketball, not simply someone who talks about it. Additionally, he has been out of the spotlight for years. Retired, silent, and aloof up to this point. The world of basketball came to a halt at that point. It was more than just a meeting when the three of them appeared in the same room. There was a message. There's a huge item in the works. And the center of it is this trio. What may bring these three together? What could be so significant that it brought Cunningham out of retirement, brought Larry Bird out of retirement, and established Clark as a movement leader in addition to a player? According to insiders, it marks the start of the next chapter in basketball history. There are rumors about everything from mentorship programs to complete league reorganizations. There are even rumors of cross-league partnerships that would permanently conflate the NBA and WNBA. However, it's obvious that this goes beyond basketball. It's about transforming the sport, leaving a lasting legacy, bringing generations together, and taking women's basketball to a new height. The wildest portion comes next. Not even everything is known to us yet. However, based on what has already been revealed, we can state with certainty that history is being written. And at the heart of it all is Caitlin Clark. The ascent of Caitlin Clark has been nothing short of spectacular. She not only entered the WNBA but also completely disrupted it. Unprecedented viewership, record-breaking attendance, with items flying off the shelves. She transformed a league into a movement during her freshman season. Let's look beyond the numbers, though. This goes beyond her highlight reels and three-point shooting ability. Dominance of culture is at issue. Arenas don't only fill up when Clark performs, they blow up. She creates tribes in addition to attracting admirers. From her time in college at Iowa to the hardwoods of Indiana, Clark's name became a byword for enthusiasm. She had more than simply Indiana fever. She brought the WNBA as a whole into a new era of prominence. She received NBA All-Star coverage from ESPN. For her games, networks moved primetime programming. And the figures are astounding. When she played, each game had over 1 million viewers, and on special evenings, 2 million. That has never been done in the WNBA before. That was the end of sports television. Her impact, however, extended beyond the scoreboard. Brands were vying for her. She became a marketing powerhouse for brands like Gatorade, Nike, and Beats. Additionally, her fame helped to create the WNBA scene in addition to making her wealthy. Executives rushed to rework transactions behind the scenes. Contracts were renegotiated by networks. And players began to regain their faith. Have faith that their league could expand, that they could have an impact, and that this could be the turning point for women's basketball. Clark did not ask for change once he entered the league. She made it happen. Fans who had never seen a WNBA game were drawn in by her. She raised the spirits of seasoned athletes and expanded the dreams of young girls. Therefore, Caitlin Clark's entrance into a confidential meeting inside the Pacer facility is not only noteworthy, but also meaningful. She is more than just a component of basketball's future. She is ensuring that everyone is aware that she is the future. Let's now discuss the wild card. Cunningham, Sophie. Guts, grind, grind. Sophie is a fuel if Caitlin Clark is a flame. Having played for the Phoenix Mercury for 6 years in the WNBA, Cunningham is no stranger to leadership or controversy. She's the kind of player that will plunge headfirst into a pile for a lost ball, then stand up and tell it like it is during the press conference after the game. And when she speaks, people pay attention. Sophie has been the voice that players didn't even realize they needed, whether it was for media respect, locker room conditions, or player remuneration. She is currently seated at the table with legends. Why her? Due to her lack of fear. Since even when the cameras are off, she isn't scared to question the system since she knows the game inside and out. However, this is the most potent. Cunningham adds credibility. She isn't popular with the media. She lacks business sophistication. She's unpolished. She is authentic. She is also regarded. Therefore, it's not nonsense if she is a part of this new project, whatever it is. Fire is present. Her participation indicates that this goes beyond show business. It has to do with content, change, and genuine change. For years, Sophie has been sowing the seeds for future leadership positions, player advocacy, and union work. This encounter could be her harvest. And now combined with Bird's gravitas and Clark's star power, Cunningham is the unifying factor, the conduit across generations, and the enforcer who ensures that change is not only discussed but actually implemented. Then there is Larry Bird, the legend, the man, the Indiana icon, the 3-time MVP, the 3-time NBA champion, and the source of the league's most vile taunts. However, he isn't here to brag about his qualifications right now. He believes in something greater than himself, which is why he is here. And it's time to listen when, after years of stillness, Larry Bird appears. Bird was more than just a dominant player. As an executive, he created contenders. He lifted entire companies, coached, drafted, and mentored them. His fingerprints may be seen on every Indiana basketball team, from the Pacers to the Celtics. However, why now? Why come out of the shadows at this time? The game needs him, that's all. Since the spark is Caitlin Clark. Additionally, Bird is skilled at converting sparks into infernos. The presence of Birds is not ceremonial. It's a calculated move. He serves as the mentor, the architect, and the link between new school brilliance and old school toughness. His purpose is to construct. Consider this. Bird is Clark's mentor, teaching her how to manage celebrity, lead teams, and leave a legacy. It goes beyond just mentoring. It's a step up. The crown is being passed by royalty. Bird never takes a half-hearted approach. He's all in if he decides to return to the arena. And with Cunningham and Clark by his side, this three might spark an unprecedented phenomenon in the sport. All of this that is taking place in Indiana, the state where basketball isn't a sport, has a lyrical quality. It's a faith. Additionally, all three of these individuals have strong connections to it. The fever is being stoked by Clark. Cunningham participated in Midwest high school competitions. Additionally, Bird plays basketball for Indiana. This is not an accident. A coronation is taking place. Basketball is experiencing a revival in Indiana that transcends leagues, genders, and eras. The state is a hive of activity among fans. Practice facilities have media vans parked outside of them. Additionally, a blueprint is being drawn elsewhere in a boardroom. A blueprint with the power to transform everything. This movement transcends individual players, teams, and leagues. The goal is to unite basketball under a single flag. And it's okay if Indiana serves as the starting point. Furthermore, that pattern is more than merely OS and excess. The goal is to completely transform the sport itself. According to insiders, this goes beyond simply raising WNBA ratings or obtaining better sponsorship deals. It involves completely reimagining the professional basketball ecosystem, with Clark, Cunningham, and Bird serving as key architects of that idea. Imagine a time in the future when players from the NBA and WNBA train together, where young girls and boys in Indiana or any place else in the nation look up and see the same resources, the same enthusiasm, and the same spotlight shining on both leagues, where mentoring isn't just a marketing gimmick but rather a systematic, fully financed program. This trio may be constructing that. It's not just chatter, either. Rumor has it that infrastructure is already being relocated. Media platforms run by both male and female basketball icons co-manage training academies' development pipelines. According to rumors, Larry Bird, who has extensive contacts and administrative experience, is pushing for NBA assistants to formally integrate the leagues in ways that have never been seen before. Cunningham isn't merely lending her voice, though. According to reports, she is advocating for equal pay structures, retirement planning, mental health programs, union protection, and systematic policy changes that go beyond platitudes and into quantifiable action. Her role, and this is revolutionary, not ornamental. On her end, Caitlin Clark is referred to as a reform icon in addition to being a good athlete. She is strong enough to insist on access to boardrooms where genuine change takes place, yet still youthful enough to engage with the next generation. She is challenging the system rather than celebrating it with her platform. Additionally, supporters are organizing rather than only observing. Social media buzz is at an all-time high. Hashtags are popular right now. Fan clubs are starting to take shape, and there are petitions going around asking for more information about the possible outcomes of this mystery Indiana gathering. The public is curious and, more significantly, wants to participate. According to sources, special investigative pieces are being planned by the local media in Indiana. Flying producers are national news outlets. Why? Because they are aware of everyone's gut feelings. We're just the beginning of something enormous that is taking place. This confidential meeting may turn into a live televised announcement, according to some chatter. Something that would fundamentally alter the sports industry. The three present their idea, mission, and call to action for the basketball community during a televised unveiling. What would happen if they invited more people to the table? Imagine LeBron James, Diana Taurasi, or even Sue Bird collaborating. That is no longer a fantasy. Since other legends pay attention when legends align, the likelihood is quite real. This is more than simply a basketball narrative. It tells the tale of influence and how three individuals, each from a distinct era of the sport, may completely alter the course of events. This entails dismantling silos, disregarding outdated strategies, and writing a new era from the ground up. Executives in both leagues are already anxious. The status quo is threatened by a movement this audacious. It puts established power to the test. However, the current system is due for an overhaul, which is precisely why it is gaining traction. And these three might be the ones to bring it about. Consider what it means when the notion of transformation, rather than the court, is generating the most applause. Fans get enthused about the game's next generation when they're not just anticipating the next game. No championship can compare to what is currently taking place in Indiana. It surpasses all MVP awards. It is the beginning of a movement that cuts over boundaries of geography, gender, and generation. And the knock-on consequences will spread from small communities and young leagues to professional locker rooms in international arenas. The world of basketball might never be the same. Additionally, this sports story feels unique in an era when so many center on scandal, treachery, or fatigue. It has a hopeful vibe. For the sport as a whole, rather than just one player, it feels like a comeback tale. One thing is therefore quite evident as we wait for the whole disclosure of what Clark, Cunningham, and Bird have in store. This is not your typical WNBA chapter. We're here for the prelude to something big, a turning point, a before and after moment. Every pulse, every news story, every momentous action they do. Basketball enthusiasts, fasten your seatbelts because whatever happens next will not only make headlines but also history. What's the big play here, then? What's going on, really? According to insiders, it might be a mentorship program. Others are working at media outlets, business endeavors, or even a brand new cross-league training facility. In any case, it's enormous and intended to bring men's and women's basketball together in a way that has never been done before. Consider it. Cunningham's passion, Bird's insight, and Clark's energy came together to elevate the game on both sides of the gender gap. We might be witnessing a complete revolution. Cross-league seminars, playamiers, combined media appearances, and a cohesive basketball identity. Additionally, you can be sure that advertisers, networks, and fans will be closely monitoring their every move given the already explosive media attention. Because this is a call to arms rather than merely a partnership. A proclamation that everyone can play basketball. That greatness is created, and the game is changing before our very eyes. Now, we pose a query. Do you feel prepared for it? Are you prepared to watch as basketball's future is being shaped in real time? Caitlin Clark is changing the rules of the game, not just playing it. In addition to stating the truth, Sophie Cunningham is paving the way, as well as Larry Bird. He has come back to build, not to observe. The world will be shocked by what occurs next, and we'll be here to provide you with every announcement, update, and stir that this trio makes. If you're excited about basketball's future, hit the like button. Post your forecasts in the comments section. What do you suppose Cunningham and Clark Bird have planned? We assure you that this tale is only getting started, so don't forget to subscribe. Remain locked in. Here at WNBA News, the transformation has begun.